Hey everyone, it's Mark Sargent, and this is Flat Earth Q&A emails number 38, where you email me your Flat Earth and sort of Flat Earth related questions, and if I don't read it on Strange World, which is on Tuesday nights on Truth Frequency Radio, I will do a separate thing for YouTube here. So let's get right to it. First email is called Bumper Sticker, and it's a bumper sticker of a European-ish license plate, and it says, "Hi Mark, I'm sending you a picture of my bumper sticker that I designed. It's not a car plate, but maybe you can put it in the car plate slideshow. Thanks, and keep up the good work. Amin Sadala, Zagreb, Croatia." I think Zagreb is the town in Croatia. P.S. I hear you and Patricia have a daughter living in my country. I am sorry, as a Croatian, I had to make this joke. So thanks, Amin, and it's a cool little sticker. It says Flat Earth. Google it, YouTube it, and he puts it right below his normal license plate. That's awesome. And I did. I've already included it in the slideshow, and I'm also including it in the license plate compilation. So if you guys see it, you'll see the Croatian license plate is VU261-DF, and then below it is the Flat Earth license, or Flat Earth bumper sticker. So that's awesome. Thank you very much for that. This one's called Famous Astronaut. And it goes something like this. There once was a famous astronaut. The famous astronaut was tired of everywhere he went. He heard, "Hey, aren't you that famous astronaut?" So he retired into seclusion in a cabin in the woods. He loved it. But after a while, he grew restless. So he decided to go into the little town nearby and have a drink. Sure enough, as soon as he sat down, the bartender said, "Hey, aren't you that famous astronaut?" He said, "Yes, but please, I just want to have a drink and not draw any attention." The bartender gave a nod and went on about his duties. Before long, the bartender came back and said, "I know you don't want to be bothered, but I have something out back I really want you to take a look at." The famous astronaut agreed to take a look when he was done with his drink. When finished, the famous astronaut stood and said, "What do you have for me to see?" The bartender says, "Okay, it's out back." They step out back and there stands a rocket. The bartender says, "Well, what do you think?" The famous astronaut says, "Okay, it's a rocket. What do you want me to do with it?" The bartender says, "I want you to go to the sun." The famous astronaut laughed and said, "Even if you could get that thing off the ground, you would burn up way before you reach the sun." The bartender just smiled and says, "I got that figured out. I'm going at night." It's funny. I get it. Hey, I think all things happen for a reason, and I can't really put my finger on why FE is growing so fast so suddenly. But I believe there is some kind of plan. I just believe you are honest and a good person. I have grown up these past few months to value what you say and are doing. That said, I have a question for you. Do you accept Bitcoin, and is it all what people are talking about? I am digging around and it sounds almost too good, or am I just truly seeing it early enough that it is possible, or maybe really cash in? My eyes are open. I know you are a very busy guy. Get back to me. I would share where I come from. A man's word is everything. All I have is this, is my word and my balls. And he's got a picture of the globe. That's cute. And I will save that because I generally don't read these right up. I just skim them. So Bitcoin, I don't really accept Bitcoin because I don't have it. If you guys want to send me something else, that's fine. But Bitcoin, in fact, I had a friend that was into Bitcoin. I knew a lot about it, and it's an interesting concept. I get the whole thing. If you guys don't know what Bitcoin is, also tie it to the website, which is, I don't think it's still around anymore, called Silk Road, where you could buy just about anything. Bitcoin is a discreet way of paying for things where you really want to remain anonymous. Things you would get in trouble for. Like drugs and guns and grenades and all sorts of fun stuff. I mean, Silk Road was like the eBay for criminals. That's really what it was. So, yeah, interesting. But no, I'm not a Bitcoin guy. Know a lot about it, but not really into it. This one's called Flat Earth. Hi, Mark. I recently got into this, and for my beliefs in giants, got into the Rob Skiba Nephilims video, and after seeing several videos that YouTube recommended me, saw one from Skiba talking about Flat Earth and got so disappointed that I said to myself, I have to listen to this retarded guy for once and for all, erase him from my research about the giants. Seriously, I'm reading this as is. The punctuation is, it's not his native language. His name is Pablo Maraglia. But finished having a marathon of videos and researching even more since now I believe I'm a flat earther. The reason I am writing is because I need to know which is the correct map. Can't answer him there. And more for lunar phases and planets. I get confrontations with globalists that get so pissed off about this, and they keep bombarding me with questions I don't have an idea yet. Like, what about an eclipse, for example? I rather talk to ask questions because writing is too much work. Thanks, Pablo. Yeah, when it comes to the map, I still believe in the AE map, otherwise known as the United Nations map, also known as the azimuthal equidistant. I still believe in that, and people are trying to work on variations of this map. I think it's fairly close. There may be some scaling issues, but the bigger thing is whether there's a dome over it or not, and I believe in the dome. So this one's called Early NASA. It's a YouTube video. Link towards the halfway point. How could the destroyed satellite be moving the same speed as the ISS and the astronaut isn't tethered? Just a thought. It's Freddie, and the name of the video is called First Mom in Space. Anna Fisher tells her amazing NASA story video. So, interesting. So thank you for that. This one's called Hello, Mark. Mark, I meant to send you this suggestion to listen to the other day. I know you are a busy man, but I know if you have listened to Aerosmith before, and I have listened to Aerosmith. They weren't one of my favorite 70s bands, but they're pretty up there. Before, you'll probably know the song called Living on the Edge. Yes, I do, and I don't think that was actually a 70s song. That was an 80s version, I think. Listen to the lyrics. It is obvious the song was given to them by someone in the higher-ups. Thanks, let me know what you think when you read between the lines and their double meanings. Clinton McAllister from North Carolina. I bet you Clinton's going to show up at the conference this fall. That'd be cool. And yes, I will listen to Living on the Edge by Aerosmith. This one's called Flat Earth. Mark, hi. I'm not sure how to start this, so I'll just do it. My family and girlfriend think I'm crazy. I'm trying to tell them we live in a flat world, but they don't care. It's really hard and frustrating. I also believe that Jesus is returning soon. I want to save them, but I feel so lost and confused. I know you believe in the dome, but do you believe in God's dome? I need advice, even if we don't believe in the same dome. I didn't believe in God until I started doing my research on flat Earth. Every day I discover something different. It just keeps going. I just need advice. Anything will help. And I will write her back, but I also mentioned here, look, yeah, I do believe in God's dome. I do. I mean, it's either a divine structure or God subcontracted out the work. One of the two. And again, don't be frustrated when you're trying to convince people. You can't force someone to, but it's the whole thing. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can show them the flat earth. You can't make them believe in it. You've got to let it absorb into their minds naturally. Everyone's got their own time frame, and everyone just takes time. That's all it is. Some people can do it in a few hours. That's rare. Most people take days to a week, and some people take much longer. Remember, granted, I had less content to work with. I was looking at this thing for months before I finally came around. So this one's called Funny Flat Earth Coincidence Happened to Me. Mark, I was talking to my cousin about flat Earth. Then out of nowhere, a Star Trek convention van passed right beside our car. I live in Ottawa, Ontario. Comic-Con was happening this weekend, but it's too much of a coincidence, right? When I was talking about flat Earth, out of nowhere, the van passed me. Yeah, I believe in synchronicity. Absolutely. It's happened to me many times in my life. This one's called Need Your Expertise. Hi, Mark. I just watched your video on the fake ISS interior. Wow, I was blown away. I studied the ISS for years, but focused more on the UFOs that were showing up outside. I can only assume they were fake as well and put there for conspiracy theorist entertainment. I have recently completed a 2-year study of NASA's raw images of Curiosity on Mars. It is a comprehensive analysis and study of Curiosity and the inexplicable changes made in the images. It proves conclusively the raw images are all staged. I know that it is not a new idea, but I am the only person that I am aware of who actually analyzed changes in Curiosity. Most people focus on the ridiculous objects that they place in the background as red herrings to distract viewers from paying attention to Curiosity or the fact that the images are just so fake. That was one sentence right there. There is some photo manipulation in the images, which I note. The biggest issue is they staged the robotic arm in ways it simply cannot go, but because nobody really knows how it should work, no one questions it. I would appreciate your feedback on my presentation. It is a 45-minute PowerPoint presentation. I promise the details will fascinate you. Be sure to watch on a large screen. There's a lot of images with details to be studied. Regards, Lexi. and it is called, the video is called The JPL Insider, the real truth behind the creation of NASA's raw images on Curiosity on Mars. And yes, I will put that in my review pile, and I will take a look at that and maybe even mirror it if it's cool. I've mirrored a few things lately. This one's called YouTube Flat Earth. Mark, I saw that you are on Whidbey Island. I am in Seattle. I have viewed well over 100 Flat Earth videos. Would like to know how high is the center of the dome. Also how high out by Antarctica. The water always level, and the flight paths from Australia were the deciding factors for me. Michael Pack. And hopefully Michael is listening. Is how high is the center? I mean, it could be as low as 500 miles, could be as high as 3,000 miles. And as far as how far out in Antarctica, well, from the Antarctic coastline, I would say thousands of miles before you get to the outer marker, the outer barrier. Because remember, the Admiral Byrd, granted, the plane technology wasn't outstanding back in the late 20s all the way up to the mid 50s, but it did get better quickly. So he was looking for that outer marker for the better part of 30 years. So it's got to be thousands of miles out there before you run into some sort of negative physics barrier type thing. My best guess, anyway. This one's called Santos Bonacci from Sent by Santos. Hey, Mark, could you please let your people know about my intentions to make Tyson famous? Hey, friends, flat earthers. Neil deGrasse Tyson is lying. I am sorry, by the way, that it took me so long to get this email. It's probably 3 weeks later. Neil deGrasse Tyson is the lying black magician, evil deceiver. I don't know if we should call him black magician if he's black. It's just my thought. People will see that the wrong way, because I know what you mean by black magician, but no matter what word dark magician, you're going where you have to. And who enjoys misleading little children with satanic lies, is touring Australia. I'm planning on flying down to Melbourne to disrupt his lying machine with printed t-shirts and flyers, exposing him with cameras, the whole works, to distribute flyers out the front of the venue and hecklers inside. Would you like to join me? We need cameras, flyers to print, to distribute at the venue. Let's get as many flat earth truthers out in full force on that day and make history for our little children and make it harder for the deceivers to do their demonic work. Let's save our children. This isn't always the way. For the children. Please reach out to me if you can help in any way. And there's a Ticketmaster thing. I wonder when this is. Or did it already happen? Let me click on it real quick. Neil deGrasse Tyson tickets. That is July 15th he's going to be in Perth, Brisbane. He's doing 4 of them, but his first one's July 15th. I'll have to pass that on. You know what? I'm going to pass that on to IPS and see what he can do. I unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to fly down to Australia next month just to protest Neil deGrasse Tyson, but I like where you're going with this, and I will respond to him as soon as I can. In fact, as soon as I'm done with this. This one's called Flat Earth Flights. Mark, my roommate brought up Clipper flights, and we saw this, and it's from USA Today, and it's from December of 2016. Qantas Airline plans first ever non-stop service between Europe and Australia. And yeah, so if you guys want to look it up on usatoday.com, and I haven't read it, I don't think, but again, it's not the service that bothers me, it's the route. And that is, once they get offshore, remember 150, 200 miles, no matter where it is, the GPS system drops off into approximated or estimated mode. So you can't prove the route. So again, you can offer whatever service you want, but without the route, what do you really got? This one's called Astronaut Photo. NASA is getting risque. And it says, Mark, I didn't follow this guy, just showed up. Looks pretty flat, and the moon doesn't look millions of miles away. And it's from one of the astronauts, Jack Fisher. My first real moon pic. Lady Luna sure is pretty from up here, but she's difficult to take a picture of. I'll keep trying. Good night, moon. That's from Elizabeth Mapplebeck. Interesting. Okay. That was a tweet she just sent me. Or, a tweet picture. This one's called The Danger of Mass Awakening. Please address it. Okay. This is a longer one. Hi, Mark. How are you doing? I just listened to Dr. Johan Oldenkamp's interview on Secrets of Saturn YouTube channel. He has done intensive work into original biblical work, and to cut to the chase, he is predicting the Rapture reboot in 2025. I don't think you're going to have to wait that long. I know the prophecies have been interpreted, made and made up, but with the upcoming of the Flat Earth truth into the mainstream, it takes this theory to a very different level. Let me clarify quickly for your listeners and respond to an argument you made on one of your simulation theory discussions you had a few months ago. We are in an enclosed system that somehow simulates the infinite universe. context, we would never challenge its boundaries if we did not have the rocket technology to test it 60 years ago. You make a good case for it. Just like in a simulation game, it would be boring to reach the ends of the map walking, but at some point, if you're in a vehicle fast enough, you might be able to go and test the boundaries. We all did it. Bird found it and wanted the world to know about it, and he told us in his own words, this place has untouched resources, which I don't think is true. I don't think there's anything there to take advantage of in Antarctica. First, the creator wouldn't want anyone to dig and wander near the edge, but Bird had to make something up, trick corporations in other countries to also find out about the enclosure. I'm pretty sure those large corporations also play the game. They know there is nothing more. They have the means to find out what is really there in terms of resources. Anyhow, how does this tie into the end of times and the danger of truth going mainstream? Well, I hope this comparison will resonate with you, Mark. In order for you to enjoy a good virtual game, you need bots, a large map, good graphics, and other players to make it even more unpredictable and captivating. But what happens when the bots stop doing what they're supposed to do? What happens when other players start to wander off and look for the edges of the map? It gets boring real fast. There is no point to play alone because nobody cares anymore. The game is no longer captivating. And this is where we're heading. As long as we play their game, the sun and the moon go round, time passes. As soon as we break free and refuse to play, they lose their power and it gets ugly. It most certainly already happened a few times before, so the map is wiped, a new storyline is constructed, which would explain the big gaps in our history. New players are brought in, learning from the last version, improvements are made, lifespan is reduced, memories are wiped. The Matrix film illustrates it very well. I have been in on this wave since your first show, Mark, and many of us have resolved enough conflict in our minds that we can now focus on the next step. All of this getting into the mainstream will freak people out. Maybe this is why it has been done in stages and limited doses over long periods of time. What comes next? Are we forcing the reboot of the game? How long can the golden age last? Once we have it all the truth, all the technology, the life extensions, it's just it's just a fictitious goal. If we turn away from this false desire, materialism, and turn to God, we get out. We get out of this game. So once again, you were right. This is a prison, but it is one we can only get out of once we realize the prison is not physical, but spiritual, and let go. Many people will have a hard time dealing with it, especially those in charge. Hundreds of years to accumulate power and control, to be taken away in a blink of an eye by God reclaiming his creation. This is why they had to come up with all the nonsense, the Big Bang, evolution, heliocentrism, vaccines, chemtrails. They don't want the game to end, neither do we when we play and win at every turn. I'm still very enthusiastic about my friends and family to finally wake up, but I will bear the responsibility of ruining their worldview, dreams, and path of their journey on Earth. Will we be there for them when they all have their reality shattered? Those are the kinds of questions we need to ask ourselves now, because the movement is growing way too fast, and I'm pretty sure a worldwide freakout of the masses would please whoever has been running the show, and, as always, use it against the creator. I am starting to second guess the way we are presenting the truth and its implications to the world, not out of fear, but out of honesty. If 2025 is the true Rapture reboot, a few years after Mass Awakening, which seems to line up pretty well with the current timeline, is this how it ends? Thank you, Mark. Take care and God bless. Vivian. Thanks, Vivian. Yeah, a lot of stuff to think about there, and I think 2025 is too far down the road. I think there's a lot of things are going to happen now. Things are way too fast, like what you were saying. The mainstream media has introduced flat Earth into the vocabulary so heavily that, I mean, heck, even the Vatican brought it up 2 days ago again. And I think we're moving to a critical mass, the 100th monkey effect, very, very quickly. So will people freak out? Yeah, possibly. Will there be a reboot? Possibly. Golden Age? Maybe. End of days? Also possible. Don't know. It's still up in the air. I'm hoping that we can tip it over to the Golden Age side, but you never know. It comes down to our opponents. This one's called The Dome is Keeping Something Out. Mark, have you seen the anime series Attack on Titan? No, I have not. It's about humanity living within large walls that are meant to keep out giant human-like beasts. It's an amazing series and is on Netflix at the moment. I've always been uncertain about there being a dome, but recent info from Rob Skiba showing evidence of a reflection has made me think it may be true. Anyways, Attack on Titan has made me think that there is a strong possibility that a dome may exist, not to keep humans from getting out, but to keep something else from getting in. Just a thought. And that's from Notepad. Didn't actually get the person's real name, but that's fine. This one's called Have You Watched This Video? Mark, I have been a sub to your channel for almost a year. I love the idea that we might be living on a flat earth. Every so often I hear you mention a channel called Smarter Every Day that accidentally proved the Coriolis effect is a myth. So I went to the channel to watch that video and the guy did not prove it to be a myth. The other guy from the channel called Veritasium has put their experiments side by side in a video. One guy in Alabama and the other guy in Australia. Their kiddie pool experiment proves it to be right, which means the Coriolis effect may be not a myth. Please watch this video and help us understand what's going on here. And I have watched it multiple times. And what he's saying is, you have to watch it again. The Coriolis effect, from what we were told by mainstream science, is that toilets flush in the opposite direction and sinks drain in the opposite direction, and it's very, very pronounced. What Smarter Every Day did was he took a giant kid's wading pool and made it perfectly still water, and with a drain plug in the center and food coloring with an eyedropper in crisscross patterns, showed that the Coriolis effect was so negligible it might as well not even have been there. So inconsistent. So watch it again when you get a chance. You got to understand what the Coriolis effect is, how it's explained to us, and then what he's showing. How it's explained to us is that toilets, just flush in an opposite direction. Very, very pronounced, where he's saying is no. It's completely different from that. It's very, very, very slight enough that we're talking about water. What about bullets? What about artillery shells? What about everything else that we supposedly see? Watch it again, and by that I mean you guys can look this up. You can type in Smarter Every Day, the YouTube channel, and look up. I think it's called toilet water. That's the initial experiment. So no, I'm not changing my opinion on that. Watch the video again, man. This one, same guy. Here's a follow-up. Yeah, I know. It was a simultaneous test. That's the whole reason I mentioned it. And again, he's not a flat earther, but the simultaneous test is one of the best tests I've ever seen scientifically, where he literally has identical equipment, one in the northern hemisphere, one in the southern hemisphere, and they run it simultaneously, talking to each other on cell phones and at the exact same time, and it's brilliant. So again, watch it again, man. And if anyone disagrees with me, please write me an email, because that's what I got from it, is that he's not saying that it doesn't exist entirely. He's just saying that the results are so slight that they contradict everything that we've been shown, from everywhere else. That sinks, especially sinks draining, comes down to, or even toilets, comes down to the angle at which they're being projected, where the water is being shot into it. And you can do that in a sink at home, by the way. Just move your faucet from one side over the other. You can get your own sink to go clockwise versus counterclockwise. It's not hard. This one's called Important. Hi, Mark Sargent. I hope this electronic correspondent finds you in great health. My name here is Bob Bice. I am an average Joe with pretty much the basic life. That's all I will say for now. Waking up to this was like waking up from a long life dream. It has ponder every aspect of my life, that it has almost made everything positive, and that's just awesome. Now, my only negatives I combat are those still asleep in their round beds. My question: with the most powerful telescope money can buy, they say that the rings around Saturn can be seen, which, by the way, are 1.2 billion kilometers, or 745 million miles away. Now, that is far, yes. Let's turn that same telescope towards the moon, which is only 238,000 miles away, and no one can zoom in on the crap left over from the tin can spaceship, or even the tracks made by the Fisher-Price dune buggy they rode around on. One would think we can zoom in on the mountains and craters with at least good detail. You can't. I had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to view the moon using a telescope that people cannot buy. I can't say where, but I was 8,000 feet up, and you cannot zoom onto the moon with odd detail, even with different filters they had for it. Best I got was slightly above okay quality in some places, but 90% was poor quality. To me, it felt like looking like at a giant painting with a few 3D objects. Very weird. Oh, and during that whole time, not one cartoon satellite out of the 10,000 ever flew by. Amazing. Well, that's my 2 cents. Would love to come on your radio show if you ever want to do a skit with the average Joe. For your audience, I promise to keep it rated PG-21. I've never heard that. A friend on this plane, Bob Bice. P.S. Yes, I know. What's the question? I hope you can find out with the writings above. Yeah, wait, what is the question exactly? I don't know. Somebody tell me what the question was. That happens. Okay, this one's called called More Thoughts. Hi, Mark. A change from submarines, but onto something that bugged me for some time. We were told that the atmosphere is dragged around with the spinning globe. So if a plane takes off near the equator heading west with a top speed of 500 miles an hour into a headwind of 1,000 miles an hour, well, yeah, I get what you're going at. It's not going anywhere but backwards. I have a boat, and I can do 8 knots, and I've tried to punch it into a 6-knot tide, and all I can do is 2 knots over ground. No maths involved, just facts. I'm sure NASA has answers involving billions and millions of BS. Kind regards, and keep going, Bob. Yeah, I know where you're talking there, Bob, but they're not going to be able to give you much credit as far as the 1,000-mile-an-hour headwind. I get you though, totally understand, but they're not even going to acknowledge that one. This one's called Kids Flat Earth Shows. Mark, know of any flat earth kids productions geared to kids that are 5 years-ish old? It would be awesome to have a Miss Frizzle-like science show teaching flat earth concepts and real science. Kathy. No. Right now, I can't recommend any flat earth shows that are geared up towards for 5-year-olds. It's a nice idea though, and someone should. Eventually, it'll come. As this thing gets bigger. We're in fact, I remember I had an 8-year-old call into the show a couple weeks ago and told his story about how he brought up the flat earth to his teacher, his 2nd grade teacher, and how it didn't go so well. This one's called Earth. Mark, hello. I'm sure you've gotten many emails over the years about your conspiracy videos that you've made. However, I would love to prod the mind of someone who seems to have a solid grip within the theory of the flat earth. To formally introduce myself, I am Dominic Martucci, someone who will most likely live and die just the same as everyone. I guess for some background, I am 20 years old and have a very analytical mind. I've been more and more interested in the way people behave and how it seems that everyone has some preconceived notion as to how literally everything works. I've been struggling with theories of whether or not we are ourselves, to put it blatantly. It isn't particularly fun, if I may add, to continually think about the bleak existence we call life in such an apathetic manner. However, it has kept my attention through the sheer interest I have in absolutely tearing into the can of worms that would be opened if any such matter was discovered in the realm of consciousness or the concept of free will. I must say that it isn't the truth I seek within your videos. It is more that I am still hoping to find the correct question to ask. We seem to have a lot of answers nowadays, and that scares me, because once humanity becomes complacent with its place in wherever the hell we are, I'm afraid we'll stop asking questions. I sincerely hope that you take in my request, and I look forward to a future correspondence. Dominic Martucci. Thanks, Dominic, and I will try to write back if I get a chance. This one's called Sun Closer in Houston. Dear Mark, recently listened to someone who had no idea about flat earth, though they said that they never get sunburns. Though when they visited their sister in Houston, they received a sunburn. A quote, the sun was closer. I've noticed at different times that it seems like a heat lamp is turned on from the sun more intense. Possibly the sun's elevation is not constant. Dale. Interesting. Very possible. This one's called Flat Girth. That's a new one. Mark, I've been listening to YouTube Flat Earth Conspiracies in late 2015. Boylan and your clues really floored me. Like yourself, I used to pass time by looking up all kinds of crazy theories to enjoy. JFK, Illuminati, Freemasons, pyramids, you name it. After being punched in the gut by Flat Earth and sent to my corner with the wind knocked out of me, I still haven't recovered. Took me a while to admit it, but I'm hooked. I'm still interested in watching videos, listening to most of your interviews and email shows. I'm a mental health therapist, and I'm the crazy one for having such arcane beliefs. Keep it up, Sargent. You've done well. Question 1. 100 years from now, if humans are still around, what do you think your Wikipedia page will say about Mark Sargent? What would you like for it to say? I don't know if Wikipedia is still going to be around in 100 years, to be honest. Question 2. Do you ever foresee another conspiracy blowing up in the future like Flat Earth has the past couple of years? What do you surmise it would most likely be? I think it's tied to Flat Earth. So the big conspiracy that's going to be tied to Flat Earth is who built this place. That we're actually in. It's not just flat, but we're in some sort of enclosed system, that we're part of a larger group and we are encapsulated. Question 3. What do you personally aspire to accomplish at the convention coming up later this year? World domination? No. Personally aspire to accomplish, actually make it to the convention, have the convention go off as planned, and make it home home without incident. That's really what I'm hoping, because it's going to be a big flat Earth love fest as long as nothing goes wrong. Everyone's there. It's going to be great, and I imagine there's going to be press there, and who knows? I'm even hoping there'll be a celebrity cameo or two, people that'll show up just to see what's going on, and that would be a lot of fun. But personally, no, I don't have any goals other than to wake more people up, to not sleep very much and just talk flat Earth with globalists more than anything. But again, I know it's going to be a big flat Earth love fest, and people are, because I've already done some of these flat Earth social events, and flat Earth on a larger scale. Oh, it's going to be so very exciting. Can't wait to do that. Thanks for your investment of time and energy into flat Earth. You've inspired many like me. Douglas from Indy, sent from my iPhone. Cool. This one is called The Moon is Unreachable. Good day, Sargent Mark. And I know the name throws people because not many people have the last name of Sargent, which is weird because I just saw a movie 2 days ago with the kid from Harry Potter. It was about white supremacy, and one of the white supremacists' last name was Sargent, and it was actually spelled correctly. Were you an astronaut? What is your core belief about the Earth? It is from Natasha. And no, I wasn't an astronaut, but my last name is Sargent, but my real name is actually Mark K. Sargent. The K stands for Kendall, and that's from my father, Ken Sargent, and that Sargent family from Eastern Washington and originally England. So yeah, no, I was not an astronaut. No, in fact, how could I have gone this far and people not know? Every astronaut's the prerequisite for all astronauts is they're on film. So nobody's made that sort of connection. So if I was an astronaut, when was I an astronaut? Not in the 80s. I would have been too young. It would have been in the 90s when I was out in Colorado playing video games. That's okay. What is your core belief? Hopefully she knows by now. Hopefully she's typed in more flat Earth stuff. This one's called just Flat Earth. Hi, Mark. Just want to say, great job with Flat Earth Clues. It was your Under the Dome documentary that eventually convinced me after almost 2 months of research. I am working on attending the conference in Raleigh this November. Hope to possibly meet you there. You, Bob, Jaron, and Morgile are my favorites. ODD is probably great too. Probably great. But I am just now getting, to see his work. Continue your work. Many never get the opportunity to spread the truth. Don't take it for granted a single day. I am sending encouragement and prayers for you and hope to hear you present in Raleigh. Fantastic. I've still got to figure out what exactly my speech is going to be in Raleigh. We should probably compare notes so that people don't duplicate themes, but no worries. This one's called It's a Sphere. Hi, Mark. There's a troll email I did want to read, but maybe I'll save that for the show with Patricia. That's what I'll probably do. I'll save that with Patricia. I got a great troll email the other day, and I don't get many. This one's called It's a Sphere. Hi, Mark. Just want to share this gem I saw in the store the other day. Just had to snap a picture of it. I tune in every day for your podcast and would like to thank you for a great show and for doing your part in awakening others. I would love to start a movement from this side of Earth, but I'm not too sure where to begin, other than having lengthy conversations with people that just can't get past the whole gravity spiel. I feel after accepting that you have been indoctrinated from birth, the next logical step must be to start trusting your senses again, and with this comes the questions toward all these theories. I guess you can't win them all. Any tips are welcome. Greetings from Namibia. Namibia? Is that a country? I never heard of it. Chris. Or is that... I don't know where Namibia is. Advice, again, treat it like Flat Club. Size up who you're talking to before you actually bring up Flat Earth to them, because you never know. If you find out also if they're into conspiracies, and then after you find out if they believe in the moon mission, because you cannot address Flat Earth, and I'm really going with the Darren Nesbitt side of things. I think his tactic is pretty good, and that is you have to attack the moon missions first. If they believe in the moon missions, you've got to break that down, because so many people hang on. If the moon missions are true, the Earth must be a sphere. That's their logic. So you've got to go after that first and then work your way back to the flat Earth. Oh, yeah, the picture that he sent me. I think I already included it in the slides. Okay, this one's called Flat Earth What Else? Dear Mark, my name is Jared from a small town in Kansas. Always had in back of my mind questions about space, etc. I stayed away from you for the longest time because I've been paranoid about not everybody. I think a good idea for a show would be to pledge allegiance to the flat. Someone should come up with that. I pledge allegiance to the flat, and then insert rest of the dialogue there. We all know truth will always ring true, even if it's buried in lies. He's got something here. I, Jared Wilkie, pledge my allegiance to the flat plane of this earth, and where all the truth seekers from which we stand, one nation under a dome, or on an infinite plane with an open mind, and justice for the powers that should not be. Something like that. Thanks for your time. That's great, Jared. That's awesome. This one's called Satellites. Mark, has anyone zoomed into a satellite or ISS with a P900 camera? Should be pretty easy to prove that they are what we're told they are. Ball earthers should be using this as proof if they say you can zoom into the moons of Jupiter. Thanks, Darren. No, I don't think anyone's got any decent pictures of a satellite from the ground. In fact, I've never ever seen one. So this one's called Hello Mark, Flat Earth Arizona has one for you. And this is people that's actually a good identifier. People that have the Flat Earth license plates will send me emails and they say, oh yeah, by the way, I'm Flat Earth Arizona. And I recommend that. I know it's way early to bring this up, but anyone that's going to be attending the conference in North Carolina, bring some sort of sample email or a picture of your license plate or something, just so I know who you are. Because if you come to me like Tony here, Tony's gonna be just like, Mark, it's Tony. And like, Tony, I don't know. I'm not gonna make the connection right away. Now, if I, try to memorize his name over and over and over and tied it to Flat Earth Arizona, maybe. But it's better if you bring an email or some sort of correspondence or some sort of identifier that we've had some back and forth, so I can immediately go, oh right, that's who you are. Otherwise, we're going to be doing a lot of backtracking, and I'll be, I'm a dumb blonde sometimes, so I'll be looking. It's like, yes, your name's Casey. What do we know? What are we doing, Casey? Because remember, I get so many emails and so many phone calls, and I talk to all these people every day, and it just keeps piling up in my head, and eventually it's just probably going to explode. Anyway, Tony says, hello, Mark. I was watching Lionel Nation today, and Lionel was doing his first ever live YouTube chat. I was watching to see what he had to say. I was also in the live chat commenting about Flat Earth, and at about 20-minute mark into his live chat, he mentioned that he has seen a number of flat earthers. Now keep in mind that Lionel is a friend of Alex Jones, has been a guest on Alex's program many times over the last few years. Well, at the 20-minute mark of his chat, when he mentions flat earth, he goes on to talk about it for like 3 minutes. I would love for you to make a video about this 3-minute or so segment from the chat to share it. Thank you, Mark. Tony from Scottsdale, Arizona, otherwise known as Flat RTH Arizona. P.S. Mark, Lionel also is a legal expert and does many appearances on Russia Today, Russia Television. Find the link below and you'll see my comment in his chat with the time mark. All right, I'm going to take a look. That in my review pile. See what I can do. This one's called Woot Woot, I Did It, from Natalie. Almost done with the intro video. A lot of work down the rabbit hole. You're an encouragement. That's right. Natalie's going to make her video, and she's going to send me a link to it, and then I will comment, I will sub, I will do all that. I think I already subbed to her, as a matter of fact. This one's called Which Number to Call? Mark, I was the one who asked a logical question about time travel and what would be the flat earth equivalent. If you are in Raleigh, North Carolina, I will be there in August or sooner if you would like. I would love to meet you to discuss a lot of things, or I can do extended interviews as soon as possible. I don't know if I heard from him again. And as far as being in Raleigh, no, I'll be in Raleigh in November, but I will not be there in August. I may be in Atlanta in August. I'm not sure yet. There's a debate happening in August between Zen Garcia and another guy, and I'm thinking about it. Maybe. We'll see. It's been nutty busy, so we'll see. This one's called Landlines. Double click. Landlines. Hey Mark, hope all is well. I was listening to Strange World 105 this morning, and the guy that called from Australia was talking about international calls going across the oceans on submarine, cable, or fiber optics. I thought I should let you know what a buddy of mine that used to work for CenturyLink told me. He said that all cell phone calls are transmitted to the nearest cell tower and then drop down and are routed on landlines to the closest tower near the recipient. All cell calls are ultimately put on landlines, so the idea that we have moved away from landlines is totally false. We are more dependent dependent on them than ever. Not to mention that almost all internet is dependent upon either landlines, the R6 cable network, or newly laid fiber optic cable. It's all ground-based technology. I'm having my website built out as we speak. It is going to be a real benefit to the Flat Earth Nation. I will let you know more later. I am hoping that you will help to promote when it's operational. Keep up the good work, Mike in Minnesota. Oh yeah, Mike in Minnesota, the guy that sent me those cookies from Cookies Etc. Probably the best production cookies I've ever received in the mail. Seriously. I mean, they were better than most cookies I've had at delis that make them fresh in the morning. And I don't know how many days it took to get here. They were delicious. This one's called ISS question mark. If there is an audio delay on the ISS, why is there no video delay at the same time? Because audio and video are linked together. That's why. Because the audio and the video might as well be one thing. So you're not going to, so you are getting video delay at the same time. But it doesn't really matter because we've already disproved that, because the audio/video delay, which are the same thing, are completely inconsistent. Sometimes they're seconds long and sometimes they're instantaneous. Remember that Chris Hadfield did the musical sync up with that choir and the guitarist, and it was completely perfectly synced up, and it is very, very hard to do. That's almost impossible to do if you have any sort of delay whatsoever. So this one's called Are We an Experiment? Hi Mark, I just recently started looking into what we are living on. I've always taken it for granted that it was a sphere. After looking through what seemed like the majority of conspiracies and coming to have such an opposite view of what I used to and was taught to believe, I made the step to at least consider the possibility. Initially, I had heard of Admiral Byrd and listened to Steve Quayle, so my curiosity for a hollow earth and an answer for what exactly happened with Byrd has never been answered. The thing that really made me wonder about flat earth, though, was David Paulides, Paulides, and the missing 411 theory. If there really is this phenomena where people are being snatched in what now looks like not only national parks but also cities in such strange manners, pair that with cattle mutilations and the harvesting of their soft tissues, wow. Could not pronounce that word. Legitimately. Intricate crop circles with information and musical scales being etched in fields, and you look at what our food is being poisoned with neurotoxins and genetically modified garbage that we know causes tumors. Fukushima is out of control, and the Washington nuclear site in Hanford just had a tunnel collapse. I guess what I'm saying is they couldn't do more to cause us to grow tumors and cancer in the mercury in the vaccines. I know they are shooting to depopulate, but if we are in this sort of petri dish, maybe they are trying to get a few X-Men or something out of all this in the end. Do you have any theories or speculation, or better yet, evidence to tie in what seems to be a very disturbing picture? No, I don't. I'm not even going to try to attempt to tie all that stuff together. It would take too long. It's creepy to have no idea what it really is that we're being controlled by. I know David Icke talks about the reptilians. I've never seen one. It is hard to believe it's just bankers, though. It seems darker than just greed, especially now with all the pedophilia evidence and arrests happening. There's just so much evidence there is a very dark force at play, and if we are sitting in some sort of snow globe, what is outside? Are you familiar with Missing 401? Yes, I am. I've the missing people. People do disappear, no question, but they don't disappear in mass. Also curious if you know of Steve Quayle and his take on the Nazis winning World War II, relocating themselves to Argentina, then the South Pole. Apparently the SS were obsessed with the esoteric and the strange. If you have seen Hellboy, that opening scene where the portal was achieved, I just want to know what the F is going on. I'd read about the Steve Quayle thing, or Steve Quayle's take on it, and the Nazis relocating wherever they could, and sure, why not? I mean, Operation High Jump, 1946, where Richard Byrd sent that carrier fleet down to Antarctica to supposedly root out the last of the Nazis' Antarctic base. Remember, that was in 1946. Did some of them get to South America? Actually, they talked about that in one of the X-Men movies. Sure, why not? Run wherever you can if you know your country is going to be obliterated and then rebuilt, and if you're a Nazi high command, you're going to be tried for war crimes and killed. You're going to go anywhere you can. So very possible. Sure. This one is called Meetup by Rick. Mark, I'd like to try to start a meetup in Central Texas, 254 area code. Any suggestions? Rick Meyer. And he gives his phone number. And yeah, I emailed him and I said, okay, he was thinking of doing it, but he sent me like a barbecue place to meet up in Central Texas. But he never wrote back because he wanted to do it like every Tuesday or something like that. But I haven't heard back. So Rick, if you're listening, email me and let me know when you want to start this. And I will make a promo for you. If you guys want to do a promo in your city and you don't want to do your own YouTube video, or if you make a YouTube video and you want me to reproduce it on my channel, I will do that. Plus I'll make you one if you want me to. This one's called FE. Hello, Mark. Thanks again for everything. I truly believe people are starting to wake up. Wanted your opinion. I don't believe it's an if, but when Flat Earth finally exposes everything, in your opinion, how do you think it will happen? By mainstream finally admitting or another source? Also, it is scary that they still allow YouTube videos. Scary because the Illuminati cards predicted it in the 90s. So what's your views on that? I'm kind of nervous to see the outcome, but I truly believe when Flat Earth rocks everything, it'll bring people to a God, so I'm excited for that. Once again, God bless and thank you. Keep being a warrior for God. Travis. And thank you, Travis. How I think it's going to come about, if I had to take a guess, is there's going to be a secondary event, something much, much bigger. And it's not exactly going to be Flat Earth, meaning Flat Earth is just the frame for whatever painting is going to be inside it. You have to have Flat Earth to open people's minds up for a bigger concept, because otherwise they're not going to be able to take it. Flat Earth is such a groundbreaking, open-minded thought experiment that you, just by going into it, you leave yourself open for any other concepts. Remember, I've said I can't even judge other conspiracies now because Flat Earth is way above that. Do I think it has something to do with the builders of this place and the meaning of life and our purpose here and our relationship to other older civilizations? Yes, I do. All those things. I think it is the potential of a new golden age, but it's also the potential for something horrible and tragic and a new world order typey thing. So either way, I think it could go either way on this. This one's called, we got time for a few more. This one's called 1921 Newspaper Article on Flat Earth. Mark, have you seen this article in the 1921 newspaper? And it's from Albuquerque Morning Journal, the October 19th, 1921 City Edition. So check, that's from Clint out in Saskatoon. No, I had not seen that. It's really obscure. But if you guys want to look it up, there it is. It's October 19th, 1921, Albuquerque Morning Journal. They talk about some Flat Earth stuff. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. This one's called The Secret Show. Don't read on air. So I'm not going to read that one on there. I'm going to tell you who it's from. This one's called, you guys, if you don't want me to read your email on air, you got to put that in the title, just like that guy did, and then I will bypass it. This one's called Hurricane Sandy versus GPS. Mark, if GPS is really just cell phone towers, then the people who suffered through Hurricane Sandy may be able to assist us. I found that it was reported that 25% of the cell towers were down after the storm. Maybe your listeners who live in the area might remember their GPS devices not working well after the storm. I also found that the towers will only work for about 6 to 8 hours after being cut off from local power. We should be on the lookout for other major storms to see if there is a correlation between loss of mobile service and loss of GPS in the same affected areas. Mike Horde, Marietta, Georgia. This one's called, you know what? Can we end on this one? We'll see. We'll find out. This one's called, my reason is for the title, Time Travel Only Possible on a Stationary Earth. Mark, to your radio show call in about time travel, I loved space and the possibilities for mankind, now not so much. Things to consider. In mainstream science, theoretical time travel requires traveling closer to speed of light in wormholes. But think about this. If it were possible and means to a rocket into space at the right speed through a wormhole and went through time, we would never see him again. Why? Because in the heliocentric model, the Earth and the Moon and the entire solar system is moving and spinning and orbiting through hundreds of millions of miles of endless spectrum every year. If a man time traveled 5 years ago into the past, our solar system is nowhere near where it is now, and the traveler would never find home again. Excellent point, actually. So if time travel is possible, it would be safer and more rational to find a place that isn't moving a stationary geocentric Earth. Peace, Flat Earth Vegan Amy. Yes, Amy, you're absolutely right. And you know what? This will be the last email. Because time, but yeah, the wormhole idea is absolutely right, and we keep forgetting about that. We don't write about it in space scripts, which is if the solar system is moving sideways, up or down, it's moving like a shotgun pattern through the universe at 500,000 miles an hour. That means every day we're talking about millions of miles away, and that's just every day. Multiply that by 365 days a year. Multiply that number by 5 years. Just for her example, the wormhole would be long gone, long gone. Because unless you're assuming the wormhole is also affected by the sun's gravity, solar system gravity, and dragged with us, no, not a chance. In fact, it's interesting you'd mention this because in one of my early interviews with Canary Cry Radio, one of their hosts suggested that time travel, because we were, thinking way outside the box here. He said that, yeah, time travel would be way easier on a stationary Earth. And I agreed, and we kind of dug into it a little bit, where we were saying that, yeah, because in a stationary Earth, nothing's moving. So time travel, you can take out all that other equation stuff. A big chunk of time travel math is gone if it's a stationary Earth. Things are easier on a stationary world, plain and simple, because there's nothing that's not moving. It's not spinning. It's not moving around the sun. It's not going through the universe. All these things, all you have to do is worry about the electromagnetic gravitational wave equations. That's all you have to worry about is the electromagnetic field, and then figuring out. But since it's motionless, it's perfect. Love it. So thank you, Amy, for bringing that up. That's awesome. So anybody on that will end the show. If anyone wants to write into the show, by all means, send an email to msargent23@comcast.net. If you don't remember it, the email's in literally the description box of every video I've ever made, and in the Flat Earth Clues, and you can't miss it. You will be able to find my email address. It's not hidden anywhere out there. And if you don't like emailing, you want to call into the show, you can call in on Tuesday nights. If you call in and it's not Tuesday nights, it's going to go to email or go to voicemail, and I may or may not answer it because I get a lot of phone calls. That's it, guys. So until next time, stay flat.